Hello. In this exercise, we are going to be looking at how we build some functions using PHP so that we can repeat and use our code over again and also kind of simplify the process. So what we're going to do in this exercise is we're going to work with this little fictitious shop where we need to add in the size and color drop downs for each of these products. So the HTML has been done for you, the style sheet has been done for you, and the PHP page that processes it has also been done for you, because this is kind of emulating what you can expect out of this week's lab. So if you follow through with this, the lab itself should be fairly easy. So let's go take a look at the code that we're beginning with. So the first thing that you're going to see is you're going to have this file that's called original.html. It has a link to the style sheet. There's the wrapper, a thing I've called the inner wrapper. We have the form with the action to the summary.php file, which is located right here. Then I have a link to our image that has also been styled. We have a div for all of the content for the first shirt, and in this you will see there is price, and it gives us the price. There is the size, but then there is a comment here that says add drop-down menu for size here, and likewise you'll see that for color. Then we'll have, there's a slight horizontal rule here, and then we have the second shirt, and it's the same thing for the things that we need to add in. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is go ahead and create these drop downs, and it sometimes is just as easy to start this in HTML, so that's how I'm going to work through this. By the time I'm finished with this in the HTML, this should look very much like the order form that you have created for the books. So we're going to go in, and I'm just going to leave that comment here, and I'm going to go underneath it, and we are going to create a select, and I'm going to give it a name, because if we remember right, that is what is going to be pulled up. So this is size, because this is what I already have set up to work with the PHP. So if we go in here, you'll see that I have size. It's pulling that in. So let's go back in here. So we have our select statement. I'm just going to indent this to keep it nice and clean. I am going to close my select statement so that we can see what we're going to work in between this. So we have for size, we need to add a few things. We're going to do small, medium, large, and extra large, but we need to create these with the option, because this is the part that creates the drop-down piece. And so we need value, because if you remember right, value is the part that pulls into our PHP processing part. So I'm going to just do small. We're going to put that in between, and I'm going to close out the option. So this is what we need to present. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to just go and paste it and do medium. We're going to paste again, and we're going to do large. We're going to spell it correctly. And you know what? I'm actually just going to change these to the letter values. And oops, this should be small. There we go. So I'm going to copy this, and we're going to do our last one. We are going to do an XL. So we're going to type in extra large. So this is the first one that we need. The second one is we need to add some colors. So for the colors for this first item, we are, let's see, I'm actually just going to copy this because it's just going to be easier to plug in the information. So we're going to copy that whole select piece and go down into where it says the drop down for the color. And I'm just going to tab that in. Now remember, this is going to be called color. And again, it's because it matches with color. And you're seeing we've got color and color 2, size and size 2, because we have 2 products. There are other ways that are more complex to do this that would take in some variables, but we're not going to mess with that. We're going to keep this fairly simple. So I'm going to go in here. This is called color. And now we have the colors to put in here. And so I have a heather gray. We'll go fix, let's see, we need to make both of these. So heather gray. Let's see, I have a heather blue, black, and white. So these are going to be the colors of our first t-shirt. and I'm going to save that. Just going to clean this up a little bit. And then you'll see that the quantity, there's already an input box there for this, and then this div closes the first shirt info. So I'm going to save this, and we're going to go out to our browser and see what's happened so far. So if you remember right from the very beginning of the video, this is what this page looked like, and so far we've now added some drop downs to this part right here. So I'm going to hit refresh. So now we have small, medium, large, extra large, heather gray, heather blue, black, and white. So that's what we need to do now for this second piece, the sweatshirt. So I'm just going to go back, and the size one, we can copy that exact. We are using the exact same sizes for this other shirt. So I'm going to go down here where it says add drop-down menu for size here. Now this is the important part to remember. If we want this form to pull in two different sizes, we need to give this a different name. So I'm calling this one size 2. Now the reason I'm doing that is because it does happen to match up with the summary PHP that I've already created and that you'll be using. So if you use something other than size 2, you will have to change it right here so that it knows what it's pulling from in the file. So we've got it size 2, but everything else stays the same. Now, likewise, with color, we have some different colors, but I'm going to copy all of these, and we're just going to change the colors. So I'm going to go down to where it says add the color for the second shirt. So I'm going to add that in. I'm just going to tab this in, make it a little bit easier. And this one is color 2. And again, because it matches up with color 2 right here in the summary. So we're going to go in and look and see what kinds of colors we need for this second shirt. This time that it's for the sweatshirt. So we are going to have a charcoal gray, and we're going to have a navy blue. So you can see I'm just kind of typing over some of this. And then we're going to have an olive green and a black. I have to spell it right. And black. So now I'm going to save this, and we are going to go take a look out here. So I'm going to refresh. So now you see we have sizes and colors for each of these, and they are different. And now we're going to test it out because this is already set up. I happen to be using my local web server. This would be the same as if you uploaded this into FileZilla out to your web space, because I have this so it's set up to already parse PHP. The original .html, if you recall from right up at the top in the form action summary.php. So let's just take a really quick look at this. It is also starting out with the basic HTML. It has a header that is going to give us the name and thanks for the order. So this should be very similar to the order summary that you've been working on. I declare all of my variables. So these are the ones coming from the form. We have quantity 1, quantity 2. That is where the user can plug in the quantity. And we have color and color 2, size and size 2. Then, very similar to what you've probably put together for your order summary, we need what the total number of shirts is. We have the shipping number, and then we have our if statements. I even have an if statement here saying if total shirts equals 0, then a message comes up that just simply says you did not order anything else. And then I start creating my table. And this is where you can see I've got my table. The headers are shirt, size, color, price, quantity ordered, extended price. So with the exception of things like size and color, this should be very similar to the order summary that you have already created. And also similar to what you have created in the order summary, I have an if statement that basically says if the quantity of this product 1 is greater than 0, then run this. And if the quantity of product 2 is greater than 0, run this. And so it won't display if we don't order anything. And then again, the rest of this should be pulling in very similar to what you've done with the order summary. The difference is now we've got an image that's going to get pulled in, and we've got a variable for size and color. We have our variable down here for size 2 and color 2. And then we go through the whole part where we multiply and come up with the shipping, the tax, and the final grand total. So now we need to go back. We've got this original. It's already calling this summary PHP that's been created for you. So let's test it out. So we have a shirt. It's always good to test these with some different things other than the default. So I'm going to order an extra large shirt in black, and I'm also going to order a medium sweatshirt in navy blue, and let's get some quantities here. I'm going to order 3 of the t-shirts and 2 of the sweatshirts because I want to test that my stuff is multiplying out correctly and that it's pulling in these variables correctly. So let's submit our order. And here is our end product. So you'll see we ordered an extra large in the black. This is its price. We ordered 3 of them, and then this is the extended price. Here's our picture. Here's the picture of this one. We ordered a medium navy blue, 2 of them. Here is its extended price, and then the rest of this. So now we have this set up in HTML, all like this. We need to convert these parts into functions, thereby making this into a PHP document, but using these functions so we can repeat some things and keep it a little bit easier if we were to use them over and over again. So let's go in and figure out how we need to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to actually go in and create our function. So what we're going to do is go up to the very, very top of our document before even the doc type that is here. I'm just going to hit enter a couple of times, and we're going to open up our PHP, and then I'm just going to close it right away so that we don't forget. And then in between that is where we're going to create our function. Now remember, this function is going to be replacing these options. So it's going to automatically run this, and it's going to pull in some information from an array that we're going to be creating, which we will do shortly, but we can then just keep calling this function. So let's open up our function. I am going to call this function option because it's replacing this option. We're going to pass a couple of parameters, which are going to be a variable called option and a variable called value. You're going to see where these come in a moment. Then we need to open this up and tell it to do something. And in this case, we're going to have it just echo out this option. So if we just copy one of these from down below and go up into our echo statement, and then if you remember right, we need to put these in quotation marks because they are inside of our PHP echo statement. So I'm going to do echo option value equals, and we need to change these into single quotes so that our PHP doesn't discontinue there. And instead of saying small, we want it to be able to pick up any value that is specified in the array. So this is going to be our variable called value. So that's the first one that gets passed right here. And instead of saying small, this is our option. So this is the second one of the variables that comes through. So this is what we're going to echo out. This is our function, and we are going to use it actually a total of 4 times. So you'll see how we can use it over and over again. That's the first part. Nothing has changed at this point in time. So now let's go down and take a look at the first item. So here is our first item. We are going to go down here and get rid of this stuff. So I'm just going to delete it. I'm going to give myself a little room to work with because I need to open up some PHP right here. And before we even call our function, we have to create an associative array. And that associative array is going to be made up of those sizes. So what we are going to do is create a new variable, call this one sizes, create an array, and then we are going to type in small is associated with, in this case, S. Then we'll put a comma, and just because we like to make this pretty, we're going to line these all up, and the next one would be medium. It is associated with M. We're going to put another comma, and we're just going to repeat this process for each of the other 2 sizes. And that is the last item in our array. So let's make sure that we close that with our semicolon. We won't be forgetting that. And now we have to go and we are going to now create a for each loop. And if you recall, for each loops run through every item in an associative array. They are designed to work with them. So we're going to go in and create for each. And if you recall from working through the exercises last week, you will remember that you have to specify what the variable is that you started with. So this is sizes that is related to this variable right up here. And then we need to divide it up so that each of these things are associated but by a variable. So this is where that value and option comes in. So we're going to say sizes as option is associated with value. So now let's just kind of take a look at this. So we have option right here. And option is one of the things that gets pulled into our function and shows up right here. It's the thing that's going to appear between the two option tags. Likewise, we have in our for each loop, we say sizes option as associated with value. So value is this piece right here. So the S, M, L, and XL. Value is another variable that is pulled into our function. It's passed into it and populates right here. And while we're up here, I just realized I did not close this statement with a semicolon. It would have been mad at us if we had tried to execute that. So let's then go back down. We're creating this for each loop. And now we need to say, what are we going to do in that for each loop? This is where we call the function. So I'm just going to tab in a little bit, and here's where we're calling the function. Notice option is calling this function called option, and we are going to pull into it the variables that we need. Option value, and then at the end of that line, I'm going to include my semicolon. So simply by putting this function and say, hey, use this option, which is related to this, and this value right here, which is pulling it from right here, run this. So it's going to display this line right here, and it's going to loop through each of the items in our array. That is it for creating that first function using the array. So let's go ahead and save this now as a PHP file. So I'm actually just going to change its name here, and we're going to call it index.php. I am saving it out, so there's still my original, so I'm going to save. And because I have this set up on my local web server, I'm not going to upload it to FileZilla. You will need to do that if you want to see this work. So let's go out and take a look. Okay, here we are. We need to change this. We have this saying original.html. We're going to change this now so it says index.php. And when we look at this, notice it isn't any different. We have small, medium, large, extra large, small, medium, large, extra large. And if you remember right, we were working on the one in the first shirt. This one is created via PHP. This one's created via HTML. If we go out and take a look at our page source, they aren't going to look any different. Here they are. They're all aligned this way, but we can actually fix that. Let's go ahead and take care of that. But these are all exactly the same as this. Let's go fix that real quick. In PHP, we can use a little thing that forces a return, and that is a backslash followed by an N. This will not appear in your HTML, but it's going to force a return. So I'm just going to save this. We're going to go back out, and I'm going to refresh just the source code. And here is the first sizes. So now they are all nicely returned, and you'll see that they don't really look any different than this that was created in HTML. So let's go back and call the rest of our functions and create the rest of our arrays. So the next one, we're just going to keep working our way down. I am going to We're going to copy all of this information. I am going to go in between the color here, and I'm going to delete out where it says option, and we're going to put in the new PHP. This one I am going to change so it says colors 1. And instead of small, we need to make this have our colors. So we have Heather Gray is associated. This one's easy because they're the same on both sides. So there is our new array, and we have the for each loop. And the nice thing is our option function does not need to change, but we need to change this variable or it's going to pull in the sizes from up above. So we're going to call this colors1 so that it matches this new array variable that we created right here. We're going to save this and go ahead and upload it to FileZilla, test it out, see what it looks like. I'm going to go over to my web space. I'm going to refresh this page. We're still on my index.php, which is the file that we're working with. And here are my colors. So all of this is working exactly the same. We've called our function up twice, so we don't have to keep recoding what it's going to look like every time we use it. Let's go back and finish up the sizes. Now, the nice thing is for this particular size one, because the sizes are exactly the same, I am going to go back down here to where our second shirt is and our second set of sizes. I'm going to delete all of the options. I'm going to open up the PHP here and close it. And in between that, I'm going to go up above. I got to go find my for each loop because I still needed to run through the loop. So it pulls all of these sizes, but I don't have to create the array again. So I'm going to copy this. We're going to go down into where I created that new PHP, go in between it and paste it in. So it's going to pull the sizes array from up above. So if we save this and take a look, I'm going to refresh. Notice it doesn't look any different. This is all now being pulled using PHP, using that function to create it over and over again. We just have this last color array and function to use. So let's go back to the code. Let's scroll back up to where we have the colors. It's just kind of the easiest to grab that. We're going to copy this whole thing from the first color select. I'm going to copy all of that. We're going to come down here to the second one, and I am going to delete out of that. Leave my spaces. I am going to paste all of this, but now remember, we need to change these colors. So this was charcoal gray, and I just saw I have a mistake up above, so I'm going to fix it. I noticed it says gray. It should say heather gray. Some of you probably already detected that. And this variable should now be colors 2. We need to get a second variable because these colors are different, unlike when we did sizes, because the sizes were exactly the same. So this is navy blue, this is olive green, and I believe I left that at black. So these are our new colors. We need to change this variable to make sure that it's pulling from this one. So I'm going to go out to my page. I'm going to refresh. Now they are each different. Again, if we look at the code, let's refresh this. We have all of these right here. Here's our size. This was created using the associative array and the function. This was also created using the associative array and that same function, and same with this set of size and this set of colors. They are all pulled in and they're rendering the HTML. So it looks exactly the same. Let's test out our handiwork. So I'm going to order a large. I am going to just leave that at the heather blue. I'll order 5 of them. We're going to order a medium of the sweatshirt. We'll get it in olive green, and we'll order a couple of those, and I'm going to submit my order. If we did everything correct, this should pull over because we haven't altered what is in, let's go back here to the code. We haven't altered anything in this select statement. It's still size 2. That still works with our PHP. So let's just take a look. So we ordered a large, heather blue. We ordered 5 of them. There's our extended price. The sweatshirt, we ordered a medium. We ordered 2 of them in the olive green. So all of that information is there. This is how we use the functions. So here is our function, and we have used it in 4 different locations. We've used it here, 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 and here. It's the exact same function, but it's pulling in different information that we are providing it. Hopefully, this will walk you through this lab for the week. Please save and upload this into FileZilla. Then this should prepare you for what we are doing this week with the drop-down menu in the Whale Petunia bookshop, where you are creating a shipping option. So instead of size and color, you're doing a shipping drop-down and altering that. Good luck, and I hope you enjoy this lab. Thanks.